Hello friends, Mr. E here, and today is all about how to be a better veteran. What do I mean when I say a better veteran? What does it mean to be good at Darktide? Well, for the purpose of our discussion today, what I mean is providing value to your team. If you are a valuable member of the team, if you are an asset and you are generating a return on their choice to include you in the group, well, then you are a good veteran for that purpose. And the tips I'm going to be providing today aren't necessarily skill capped. You don't have to have the best aim in the world. You just have to be prioritizing the right things at the right time, making good decisions. And I guarantee you, no matter whether you're a more novice veteran or a more veteran, you are going to be playing better and you are going to get better results and more wins. So if that is something up your alley, well then stick around and of course subscribe and maybe even become a channel member if you appreciate the work I do here. Appreciate you. Now let's begin. As I said before, the number one thing that we are focusing on today is providing value to the team. How do we do that? Well, there's a very easy way that any class in the game can provide value no matter what. And that is to focus on the stuff that your class has unique talents at. If we can do something very, very easily that other classes might have to work for, if it takes us only 1 second to do X task and it takes a psyker or an ogre or whoever else 2 or maybe even 3 seconds, well, every time we do that task, we are saving them time. We are saving them effort. And if we can remove more and more of those targets, more and more of those tasks from the burden that the team shares, well, then it's going to be so much easier for everybody. And that is what we are going to be focusing on. All the tips here today, most of the tips here today, are really going to reduce the overhead burden that everybody else has, because we can manage so much as the veteran. We can really shoulder a ton of burden because of our unique skills. And let's crack right in. What are the veterans' unique skills? There are 4 things that I want you to be thinking about and exploiting every second of your game. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through these. I'm going to discuss what they are, and then I'm going to show you some game tape of those things in practice. And let's go ahead and talk about the first one, which is long-range DPS. The veteran is the premier long-range DPS character in the game. Of course, there's other characters that can do damage at range, right? Everybody has ranged weapons in their kit. There's no, what do you call it? There's no Grail Knight equivalent in Darktide, but there are classes like the veteran who can access much more of their total potential DPS at that full range, and the veteran has access to at least 95% of his damage when he is at an incredibly long range, which means we can pick engagements whenever we want, really. We can start taking out targets from before they can even really perceive what is going on. And we are therefore the best character at quickly ascertaining long-range, medium-range threats and removing them from the board. We should be just taking out stuff that is at that range and removing it entirely. Now think about who this is providing value for, right? Who are the characters in the game who really hate when there's tons of range attackers that are focusing on them, that they have to walk over and kill them? The Ogren, the Arbites, these guys, they're slow. They don't have the best range options. They don't have that much ammo. They're going to have to waddle their asses over there and beat those little gunners down to take out those Reapers, take out those machine gunners, whoever it is, snipers, whoever it is, right? All those characters really struggle against those sorts of targets. And think about what a serene existence it is if you are an Ogren player and you don't have any gunners, no small gunners, no machine gunners focusing you. That's the type of blessed life we are trying to give to our Ogren comrades, right? We're trying to remove those threats, those distance threats, with priority. And so that's the goal here. We should be focusing our DPS on stuff at range. We should be exploiting our distance, our range capabilities whenever possible. And if you're doing that every step of the way, then you're gonna multiply your damage over the course of the game. Now, one thing I do want to say here though is don't get over eager, especially if you're entering into a new area where enemies haven't been alerted yet. Because when you shoot enemies, and if you piss off all those targets before they've acquired the fact that your team has entered into the area, they're going to start just blasting you guys when a lot of your melee characters still have to close that distance. So try to be respectful, especially if you have melee characters in your team, that they need some time to surprise the enemies. They need some time to get up in their face, and then you can engage. So a lot of times people do this right at the beginning of missions, especially the mission that you'll be seeing clips of here in a second, where they engage from an absurd distance, the veterans start shooting, and then nobody else can participate because it's far outside the range of the Psyker, it's far outside the range of the Ogre and the Zealot, whoever it is. So just be cautious and appreciative of that. All right, so in this clip, I'm going to be demonstrating how high a priority it is for us to be dealing with range threats, because in the position that my team finds ourselves in, we can't advance any farther in this level. If we go any farther forward, there is a boss trigger, and it's going to summon one, but it might summon two bosses. And if that gets summoned and pushes us back, and we don't deal with all these other range threats and stuff that's on a level first, we could be in a really bad spot, which means it's on me, out of our team of mostly close range characters, to get rid of the vast majority of all these targets. So I'm going to be looking to take out range targets whenever possible. Let's go ahead and let it play here, and I'll show you that I'm immediately looking downrange. I'm trying to take out as many of these targets as possible. And look, even right here, when I stun this Mauler, I go ahead and I take out a target at range there. Just put a couple flame stacks on him to take him out, because he's not a threat, but the gunner is. Here, taking out some more small little guys, back on them, just looking for, I'm looking for their lasers, right? I'm looking for where they're shooting from, and I'm just shooting in that general direction, because if I can hit them like 2 or 3 times, I'll get some flame stacks on them, and they'll burn to death. And so even here, this dog is on me, but I can go ahead and put a couple flame stacks on him, let him burn, and then I am gonna go back. Even like, I'm ignoring this mutant, right? I could take out that mutant, but mutants actually take a while for the las gun to kill. So let's go ahead and take out this gunner that's like got our number. The mutant's not a threat to anybody right now. So that's what I need to be looking to do. Now the mutant's a threat to me, but hey, we're okay. And as soon as I deal with these mutants, but before that, right, I'm taking out that threat. You see that? How my range DPS, the fact that I don't have to move, I can go ahead and just instantly take out that bomber is just so valuable. Because what if that bomber had thrown on top of our team and put them in a really bad spot? They're backed into a corner over here. You don't know, right? So we need to be looking for those range targets. And another small gunner there. And I see a couple more small gunners up here, right? Imagine how hard it would be for the Ogre with the Grenade Gauntlet to snipe these targets who have like just the tiniest pixel exposed. The Zealot is probably using like Flamer or something. The Psyker, I believe, was using Flame Staff, right? He'd have to head pop these, which is going to take some of his peril. It's going to take 3 seconds where he's not Flame Staffing. You know, that is a huge expenditure of time for us. It's just a millisecond of our time. So I'm just kind of looking where those lasers are coming from and vaguely spamming. And just gonna take a couple more out here, right? Just abusing that range, taking that guy out who's hiding back there. And yeah, there you go. So, and then even at these targets who are coming in, I can take them out before they pose any threat too. So yeah, just really abusing the fact that I don't have to get anywhere near these guys. I don't have to have the flank on them, and I can very easily generate tons of value with my feet firmly planted in a safe zone. The second skill I want to target is the priority target removal. The veteran is just, as we established, a really solid long-range DPS, but because he has that insane long-range DPS, that means he has the best single target damage from any position, right? He doesn't have to move in order to go and take out the boss, or in order to take out a trapper or a flamer, right? He can sit himself in one position and he can turn and take out those targets as they appear. It's like a shooting gallery for him out there. So what we need to be doing is really focusing in on the fact that since we don't have to move to start killing these targets, we can remove the biggest threats, the ones that are going to make our life a living hell, or make the lives of our team a living hell. And if we can remove those before they can even really do what they're trying to do, crushers coming in with their overheads, big packs of ragers, the boss like a monstrosity or something coming in, whatever it is, if we can stop that in its tracks and remove it from the field, or stagger it, or just put a ton of damage into it before it gets to do what it does, well, then we are lightening that burden for the team tremendously. So in terms of prioritization here, those priority targets, I'm talking about gunners of all sorts, right? Small gunners and machine gunners are really important, so be looking for those, because those are super hard for other classes to pick off. I would also recommend looking for flamers, trappers, and dogs, those sort of enemies that are going to, if they get even a second to do their thing, they're going to make everybody's life a lot harder. And that, of course, applies doubly and maybe even triply for bombers, because bombers will linger so far back, they can be hard to hit for many other characters. But as soon as you see them, as soon as you hear them spawn in or you hear the grenade pin pull, you should be looking in their direction and taking them out. And this is where you will have to do some training. The Veteran is a class that I 100% recommend you play with headphones on, even if you're playing on console. The Veteran should be looking to the positions where enemies will come from, especially those specialist enemies, and taking them out ASAP. Because we have talents in our tree, such as tactical awareness, that synergize with killing specials. It's going to give us our cooldown back when we're killing those specials. We are the #1 special killer on the team. So this is a thing that you will learn with more game knowledge when you're playing, but knowing where to look to see those specialist threats coming in, knowing where to look, where you should be prioritizing for sneaky gunners who are hiding around corners or behind barrels, or angles that are just really hard for other characters to reach. If you are understanding where those are at and taking those out, then you're going to be playing very, very solidly as a veteran. And what you want to see on the scoreboard at the end of the game is you want to see that you have killed the most specials. That should be your role as the veteran, is taking those out with a vengeance, with a grudge almost. All right, so here is some great examples of target prioritization, because we are the premier sniper of specials, because we can get rid of lots of these really annoying enemies in advantageous positions. We can pick them off before they are a threat to our team. So you need to be sort of doing this ranking in your brain of, okay, what's the highest threat enemy that I currently can see from my position, and I'm just going to shoot that. I'm going to throw grenades at that. And that is what we're going to see me doing here over and over again. Now I've got the audio on for this one so that you hopefully can hear when these threats are arising, and I'll point out when I'm hearing them as well. So right here, I'm just pinging this crowd, and I ping onto a flamer. Flamers are very high threat, right? Because a flamer can immediately start to break a ton of your toughness, and they are just a really annoying enemy for a lot of melee characters to get to. So I'm going to take that flamer out with sort of some prejudice there. Now I'm starting to see a bunch of crushers and maulers, so let's go ahead and just get a grenade in there and go ahead and take out all that crap. I'm seeing some trappers. That trapper just stepped up and tried to shoot, so I am going to eliminate her. She's not going to get away. Okay, maybe she did get away, but I put a lot of shots into her. Then I see this burstoose laying on the ground, and my ally's hanging back, waiting for it to detonate. I can go ahead and take that out lickety-split, not anytime. It happily knocked the trapper down, so I go ahead and ping her up and take her out. I see another burster, but he gets exploded by a grenade. And there's another trapper, right? Get her, done, and there we go. Okay, so those enemies are gone. Now right here, another great example. Now, I could have turned around and DPS that mutant. Why didn't I? Well, I think the rest of the team's got it, right? There's no way the rest of the team can't handle that one mutant that charged by. They don't need my help on that. What I need to be focusing on is getting rid of the priority targets. There's a little gunner guy right here, and there's some more gunners way up here. So I immediately, well, I think about blowing this barrel up and killing my teammate, but then I turn my attention all the way up there. Think about how much of a pain that gunner would be for anybody else, right? And that target, if we get pushed and held in this position for a long time, he could be just shooting us for like an hour. And so we can go ahead and take him out right now. He is the highest priority target, the most dangerous target that we currently can see. Let's go ahead and focus on him. Even now, while I've got mutants charging at me, I'm still looking downrange, because that's where the actual threats are going to come from for our team. Is going to get something that's going to ambush us in this direction. And here we go again. I'm starting to see even more big packs of elites coming in. As soon as I see those blue health bars, that tells me that there's armor in there, even though there's a ton of fog and environmental effects. So I go ahead and just start grenading the hell out of that. And then I've got this crusher here, another high priority target, right? He's stopping my Ogren from doing what he needs to do, which is be on the front line. He's got to deal with this guy, but I can help that a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and just chuck a grenade on him. There we go. So that's an easy way to deal with him. And then I'm gonna stun him up, and so he goes and he's dead. And there we go. I'm back on the front lines. I go ahead and take this trapper out here. Now I don't know if you heard that, but this is where having those headphones on really makes a difference. Let's go ahead and replay this last little bit. So I heard this trapper, of course, but I also heard a trapper over here somewhere. So watch this. As soon as I'm done killing this trapper, I turn around and I'm getting myself lined up right here. Boom. This trapper's dead, and she started winding that shot up as soon as she came around that corner. Now, in this position, that Ogren would have dodged it just fine. He was aware as well. But there are times where your team doesn't have the option to dodge, or they don't hear it coming. And because you do, and because you can be ready with that, the second the enemy shows up around the corner, not only did we just gain 3 seconds of ultimate cooldown, but we also just took out the threat before they could even do their attack one time. And that is what you want your veteran to be doing. When you have a veteran on the team and they are playing optimally, when they're playing really well, you should be like, wow, I feel like I didn't have to deal with a flamer or a trapper that entire game. They were all just dead. All the snipers, all the flamers, all the trappers, all the gunners, all the small gunners, all that stuff just kept dying, and I never had to fuss with it. That is the beauty of the veteran. That's what I want you to be focusing on. You will be giving your team just the best experience possible. Third up is the veteran's sheer ability to spam. He is the most spam character, maybe short of the Flamestaff Psyker. But because the veteran has the ability to print ammo, because the ability to print grenades, and the very short cooldown on his ult, which is incredibly powerful, and of course we're talking about the voice of command here, all that stuff together means the veteran is just a resource printing bot, right? He can print tons of ammo for himself and the team. He can print more grenades to hurl and delete crushers and delete maulers and delete bosses from the game. And he can, of course, print toughness for himself and his team members. And you need to be abusing that, using and abusing that at every step of the way. You should be lobbing grenades anytime there's a pack of elites at all, especially if they're at a longer distance before their team has invested any time in getting rid of them. Just remove them from the field instantaneously with the crack grenade. That just get them out of there. You should also just be using your shout whenever there's any damage going on to your team to try and stop them from taking any health damage at all, to help and cause the enemies to fall back and create space so your team doesn't get surrounded. You should be shooting at all times, keeping the heads down on all those little shooter enemies, taking out your portion of hordes, putting damage into bosses, right? There is no reason to ever stop using our resources. There's no reason to ever stop shooting, ever stop grenading, ever stop ulting, because of our regeneration of all those things. That is something that we can do just constantly. And I want you to be aware that at any distance, right, at any time, you could very likely be finding an enemy and shooting them, and you should be, especially if you are built like the build I'll be showing here at the end. Then you should absolutely be shooting all the time, because you're going to be generating value for yourself, you're going to be generating value for the team, and you're lightening the load on everybody else. Okay, so let's show what sort of resource efficiency and just how much value we can generate over the course of this fight. I'm going to be throwing grenades, I'm going to be shooting near constantly, and watch my resources. So right now I have 4 grenades, I have about 450 ammo in my gun, and we're going to try our best to keep track of how many grenades I throw and how many enemies I'm able to remove in this little portion here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start spamming in the distance. I see some enemies who are shooting. Just going to go ahead and put some damage into them, get some burn stacks on them, take them out, right? I got an enemy behind me here. Let's throw a grenade. I don't even know if that'll fucking kill anybody. I don't know if that'll kill anybody, but let's just go ahead and get him out there. So we've used 2 grenades. We just got one back. So we just used 2 grenades. Okay, killed another elite, killed a couple more small gunners. Let's get out there. We are using an ult. There we go. Okay, so we used 2 grenades. We've used 1 ult. We're gonna take all these specials out, right? So we're up to, I think, like 5 or 6 specials we've taken out. Now that's that wasn't ours, but there we go. Take out another one right here. And now we got a boss in the fray. Let's go ahead and get some grenades on him. That's 3 grenades. Let's give it another shout. That's 2 ults. I don't know what the hell's going on there. We just got another grenade back. It's time for another one. 4 grenades. 5 grenades. Shooting some more ammo. Back to shooting over here. shooting down range, yada, 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 and getting rid of some snipers. Look, I can't even see who I'm shooting at over there. I'm just shooting. I'm just randomly shooting in that direction, and I know there's a sniper. I can see the laser, and there we go. I got him. So I just took out 2 snipers that I could barely even see. And let's pause right here, because let's look at where we kind of have ended up with our resources wise. So in all that time, which was like a minute and a half of fighting, we have gained back. Look, we're only 20 seconds away from our 4th grenade. We have literally lost 1/2 of 1 grenade, and we threw 5 or 6 of them. We have used 3 or 4 ultimates. We have only used 60 bullets in that entire time, right? 60 out of our total capacity of like 1,000. So think about the amount of damage I just did during that period. Think about the amount of elites and specials that we took out because we were fighting constantly. And that is the sort of activity that you should be looking to do. You should just be constantly shooting something. Just pick a good target and go into it. You saw how much I was just shooting that chaos spawn, right? And just shooting in the general direction of enemies. Because especially with a gun like the Recon Lasgun here, even a couple of hits applies some burn stacks. Those enemies die over time, right? 1 or 2 hits takes out hordes. So just no reason to ever stop with the spam, because you have infinite resources as veteran. And if you can really just like crutch on that, if you can use and abuse that, you will generate a ton of value. And the final thing that you will have to put some work into, that you should be focusing on as the veteran, is positioning. I like to call it positioning like a bastard. You know how sometimes there's an enemy, a gunner or a sniper, who gets themselves into like just this little crevice and you can't really get a sight line on them, but they are just making your life a living hell? Be that, but for the enemies, right? Put yourself in a position where you can hit the enemies, but they can't get to you easily, right? This works doubly well for specials like trappers and flamers and dogs that need to have line of sight on you to hit you. Make them work for it. Because we can attack at any range, because we can start shooting the boss or whoever it is when they are miles and miles away, and now they want to come get you. Well, if they want to come get you, by God, they're going to have to run the gauntlet. So make them hop over terrain. As soon as they catch you, hop down off of the boxes. When they're cornering you, drop some grenades and knock them back and make your distance even farther. Really abuse the fact that the enemies have to come to you in order to deal the damage, and make certain you are really using that positioning advantage effectively. The fact that you can deal 95% of your damage at any range from any position on the map really means that picking your position is the #1 thing that's going to affect how effective you are at the end of the day, right? If you're in a good position and you don't have to move very much, you got lots of good sight lines, you're going to do a ton of damage, and you're going to make the lives of the enemies very short. And so that is something I think you'll have to work on. I can't really give you any solid tips. I'll point out a little bit in the gameplay portion here, but that's going to be mostly up to you to understand how to position and to get the enemies to have to work that much harder in order to extract you and stop you from dealing your massive amounts of damage. All right, so now let's demonstrate some quality veteran positioning. We are going to secure this area, right? We need to wait here for the Ascender to come up. I could, of course, run back and forth and fight stuff, etc. But I need to secure one position and make the enemies work to get to me. Now, there's no enemy spawns back behind me over here. There's enemy spawn right above me here. There's enemy spawn over there, and enemies can spawn way down at the end here. So as long as I can secure those spawns, everything else should be cake, right? They have to come and walk their asses over to me if they want to actually hurt me or the team. And that's exactly what I'm going to be abusing here. I'm staying back in this corner. They have a long way to go if they want to get me. The only enemies that can actually hit me, all these gunners. So you see, that's my first priority. Any enemy that can shoot me at range. So I'm tagging them up. I'm checking behind me to make certain there's nothing back here. But as long as I got my back end secured, I'm all good. So all these plasma gunners, they gotta go. And look at all this trash, right? Imagine if, the Ogryn's taunting currently, but if he wasn't, all this trash has to come over here and get to me, which is gonna funnel it for the Psyker. It's gonna funnel it for the Relic Blade. It's gonna funnel it for the Slab and Shield. Just makes everybody's life easier to just be drawing all this threat and making it have to work to really get to me. And look how easy it is for the Ogryn to disrupt all this when it's right in front of me. And here comes the boss. Look how much damage this boss takes before he even gets to hit the team one time. He comes all the way over here to get me, gets shouted back, gets chunked. Okay, he's still after me. He's still trying to get me. right? And I think he got to hit me literally one time in that whole thing. Gets taken out. So that is how you position. All these enemies are funneled into us. We are not running around. We don't want enemies on a 360 around us. We want enemies in a cone, and we want to be making certain that we are looking in the right place at the right time. So that's how you effectively position. You can be much more devious about it, right? If that enemy had really pushed me, I could have run behind this pillar here and made him do a ring around the rosy with it. There's all sorts of little tricks you can pull on maps if you're good at movement, if you're good at knowing what positions to exploit for the enemy AI. And the veteran is probably like king of that, honestly, because he can do so much damage without having to actually touch the enemy. He can burn these guys down. So really abuse that whenever possible. So, with all that being said, let's take a look at one last longer clip with all this put together. I'll be certain to pause along the way and point out when I'm doing each of these 4 things. Now, this is going to come from a longer clip, and if you like this sort of commentated, long-form gameplay, well then you might want to become a channel member, because I am uploading many long, unedited, uncut, narrated Havoc 40s where I'm playing lots of different characters and explaining my decisions every step of the way. So that sounds cool to you. One of many reasons to become a member. Join that members only Discord today. Appreciate you for watching so far, and let's wrap it up. All right, so that is everything, and let's go ahead and roll a tape that will show all of this in concert. So as a reminder, the 4 things that you need to be focusing on as a high-level veteran. Number 1 is long-range damage. Always be shooting something, right? Get that damage done, especially on targets that your team can't reach without your help. That is your number 1 goal. The second goal is we need to be prioritizing targets effectively. So whatever the target is that poses the most threat at any given moment to the team, that's your job to kill it. And that means that, hey, if there's a boss, a big scary boss, ooh, it might be a big scary boss, but what's more scary is the flamer that's winding up an attack right behind him. So we need to swap targets to that. Then we also need to be spamming. Just shoot, and throw tons of grenades, because those things are pretty much growing on trees for the veteran. It costs us nothing to do, and it's going to jack our damage up crazy. We are going to be contributing so much more when we are effectively spamming and using our resources to their fullest. And finally, positioning. What you'll see in this fight is our positioning is pretty well impeccable. We are only going to extend ourselves when we have cover of defenses. Other than that, we are making the enemy work for it. If they want to get to us, they got to go through a whole gauntlet. They got to go through our whole team, making certain that we are behind them, and that we're in a nice, good, advantageous spot to see all of the special spawns wherever it might be. So let's go ahead and let it roll here and see how this gets done. So immediately, I'm going to start spamming. I got my grenade spam. I got my focus target on. Watch this chaos spawn. He is already down 45,000 HP down within a couple of seconds of showing up. I am spamming. I'm turning around. I'm looking for specials without even stopping shooting, because why even bother? I'm going to go ahead and turn my attention onto this Reaper here and take him out, because he's the next biggest threat. And now I'm looking behind, because I know specials will spawn back there. I hear a flamer. I need to kill that flamer, because flamers can hurt. Okay, I'm shooting the flamer, and looking forward. I heard a dog over here. And there's the dog, okay, and there's the twins. So now the priorities have changed. The twins are very scary. One of the things I can do the best is I can break her shields. I do get hurt here, but I use my ult immediately and toughen the whole team back up. Now I'm going to put the focus target on her, and I need to start looking for specials, because what could screw this up right now is specials that disable us when the twins are going on us. So I can get rid of all these flamers here, and look how far back I am positioned. If either of these guys wants to get to me, they got to go through that bubble. They got to go through my team. And so now I get some free time where I can just put some stuns on Lieutenant Astrid here and just take her down. I'm getting ready. I've got my ultimate 1 second away, and boom, there it goes. Literally the millisecond that it's up, right? I don't fuck around with that even for a second. That's coming out and getting everybody golded up. So she's dead, and now we just got to push forward and take out her twin. And that means, look, I could have shot the twin, but there's a bomber back there. Take him out. Get rid of that fucker. Take out his shield, because that's one thing I'm really good at. Boom, his shield is down. So now that his shield is down, I'm just going to go ahead and bonk him to death, and then we're just going to start looking for new targets. We've got a crusher here. I see a gunner over there. I'm going to go ahead and take out that Reaper, or at least put some damage into him. As soon as the bubble goes up, though, I'm safe. So I can turn around, and there's a trapper. I see way too much stuff, so it's time to spam some more grenades. I think I've thrown 5 grenades at this point, and I'm at 1 from starting at 2, and I see some more sniper lasers over here, so I can take out that sniper, and there we go, I'm at the back. I've got a couple more elites coming in, some flamers. I'm in a position to hop over this barrel and make him have to walk around the hallway. See how he had to come forward because he was targeting me. Shout him down to the ground, take out that Mauler, and take out that bomber back there, take out this Mauler right here, and then finally take out this sniper. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. So we have ended, right? We started at 900 rounds of ammo and with a grenade count of 2. And we ended this without losing a single point of health. We used 1 grenade that's going to be up in again like 20 seconds, and we used only about 200 rounds total of ammo in all that shooting and all that damage. And if you want to see what that looks like on the end game stat screen, this is what the results of that game are, right? I am a support character. I am playing as a support veteran, not even fully spec'd into DPS with this build, right? I am using a ton of support talents, but this is the sheer results you can get out of something like that. So dealing 1.35 million damage, second most damage, literally like inches behind the Psyker here, and we had almost 400,000 boss damage. Look at this. This is what I want you to be looking for and prioritizing if you do run scoreboard when you're playing veteran. Look at our melee and range elites, right? All those range elites. We took out as many range elites as a Psyker who's able to kill, there were times where he would kill 15 shotgunners at once, and that's how he's got 110. But we've got 74 melee elites and 110 range, and look at our disablers and specials dwarfing the rest of the team. These guys barely had to lift a finger. They killed 50 apiece. This guy killed 90. I killed 150 disablers and specials alone. Think about the burden that lifts off the team when someone is producing that much results. And so that is what I want you to do. That is what I want you to focus on if you are looking to play a good veteran. So with that being said, I'll link the build in the description, and if you go check it out, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. Mystery out. Bye-bye.